I'm going to fade to black as we're counting down. We'll go to YouTube and we'll start recording. And
love that.
Starting now. 5, 4, 3.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for August 10th, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Jeff Keighley sets expectations low for opening night live. And if you don't shape up, we're only going to give you 7 or 8 more chances to stop making people miserable on Xbox. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Lucy James, everybody. Lucy, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Well, now I feel like I've been told off.
Yeah, well, listen.
With Xbox. Why is Papa Phil mad at me?
He's not going to give you that many more chances. You go in there and you harass people 30, 40 times a day. You're only going to get 7 or 8 times a day.
Fine, okay.
Talk about it soon. Lucy, I've done the thing. I have shifted Twitter to I only see people I'm following now. I've done it. I made the choice.
Did you not do that before?
I did not do that before. Well, see, here's the thing. Quality filter used to work. There's a thing on
it
Twitter.
does not anymore. Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking been broken since Guess Who took over. And that was like a really good feature. It kept the ratio at the right balance where.
Is this why you never replied to my tweets?
Exactly, of course, yes. This was very low quality, Lucy. What can I do? It's not my fault. And it was like, it kept the ratio right. Like I was getting responses from people who like were interested in like having a conversation or whatever, and I'm fine with that. I actually really enjoy that kind of stuff. And now it is, most of those people have either left or they are getting subsumed by just idiots. They're just really dumb people who don't understand how anything works. And so I've had to shift it, and now here I am. I think this is like step 1 on actually getting off of the platform eventually. I think I'm gonna slowly wean myself off. I hope. We'll see.
Do you actually think I don't think people are gonna leave.
Well, I think so.
I don't think there's a replacement. I just don't think there's a replacement.
Not a replacement.
And I think we are all too notification pilled to want to find something else.
Yeah, totally. It already, like, our brains are already conditioned to work the way Twitter works. No matter how much he tries to break it, it's still, the other sites don't quite fit into that peg as well. So I mean, but I don't. Yeah, I've never said I was going to leave, and until like now, I'm like, I think I would like to, but it's probably not going to happen. I don't know.
I'll be there till the bitter end.
Yeah, I most certainly.
I like Twitter too much. I was talking about this last week, but like there was I logged onto Twitter one day and there was just a picture of a shark with boobs. Yes. And it was like, this is what would happen if a shark slayed. And I was like, I'm never leaving this website.
There've been some like good tweets from like just people out there putting out like that are doing the good tweets. It's just the interactions have been off. So I bet follow only is going to fix it. So
I think so.
That's hopefully.
Mine have been fine.
Okay, see,
which is weird. Like,
you've done this for a while though. Is yours on follow only?
No.
Okay, yeah, but you're better at tweeting than I am. I think I just attract people that are.
I'm hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just state my bad opinions, and then people feel the need to come and tell me how opinions don't work. And
that's the thing. I just don't really have opinion. No, I do. I save my opinions. I save my opinions for podcasts where I can talk about them and things won't be as taken out of context.
Right.
I think the only thing that's ever really been taken out of context was like 10 years ago. I said the Xbox One UI was bad. And you know what? I stand by it.
Yeah, they still have that same UI pretty much. I got used to it to the point where I kind of like it now.
Yeah, I got used to it.
Good. I'm not gonna say, I don't think any of the UIs. I haven't used a good UI in like 10 years. I have no idea what a good UI looks like anymore. All right, let's get into this mess. But before we do, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Jeff Keighley says this year's Gamescom opening night live is, quote, less about announcing brand new projects. This comes from Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. Gamescom's opening night live is taking place next week on August 22nd. Holy shit, it's next week. And ahead of the event,
I'm going.
Yeah, you're going. When do you you are leaving next week or what?
I leave Monday midday-ish.
Okay.
To arrive at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, and I go straight into a dinner. Literally, we land, get changed at the airport, go straight to a dinner.
Okay, good luck with that.
They said that to me at a dinner.
That's rough. That's rough stuff. Jeff, basically, he spoke to VGC, and he mentioned how this year's show would be less about announcing brand new projects and more focused on updates for previously announced games. In the quote, he said, this year's opening night live is less about announcing brand new projects and more about giving fans updates on some of the biggest games due out over the next year. It's going to be an exciting show with new looks at many announced upcoming games like Alan Wake 2 and Black Myth Wukong. As highlighted by The Source, there were more than 35 games featured in last year's opening night live broadcast. Unfortunately, the host didn't name drop any specific titles or series, but there will be a lot of exhibitors at the show, including companies like Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sega. This feels like that's right. You don't need to be announcing new games. Look at what's happening right now with game releases. No,
it's too many.
It's too many. There's too much stuff happening. And I mean, really, that's for one thing, that's just people are overwhelmed a little bit, I think. But also, I think most of the games that were in the works finally came out this year, and now a lot of studios are reloading. Of course, there's always going to be new games coming, but I wouldn't be surprised if not maybe next year, but the year after that is feels a little bit slow in comparison to the previous years as the pandemic sort of, the dam that built up over the pandemic burst. And now here we are in it. We're flooded by all these games. And then a couple years okay, now everyone is resetting. So yeah, updates on projects that we already know about sounds about right. So, I mean, listen, I know what you're most excited about, Alan Wake 2. We won't be playing it long after this, but anything else that you kind of hope that we hear about?
I mean, judging on where this lands in the calendar, this is basically where I'm expecting to see a lot of Q3, Q4's big hitters. So I'd be surprised if maybe there wasn't a Cyberpunk in there. I'd be surprised if there wasn't an Assassin's Creed. I think for me, the big ticket item is Alan Wake, which is wild because if you told me 13 years ago that Alan Wake 2 would end up being one of the most anticipated games of 2023, I would have told you. Even though I love that game so much, it's just very strange to hear it. Alan's back.
Yeah, back and bigger than ever.
I don't know. In it. He's back in POG form. He's back in the Dark Place form.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's it. I don't know what to expect. I mean, the thing is as well, I'm also being very careful because I have my appointments list, so I'm just checking that I'm not accidentally breaking any NDAs. Sure. I don't think I am. I'm not. I mean, I'm definitely not. But I'm not saying anything further about what I'm seeing.
Yeah, fair enough. When I look at opening night live of lives of the past, I'm I don't remember very many big announcements. And I think that's fine. I think opening night live being sort of this little slot where people give us updates on stuff that we know about, it serves its purpose, and it can be fun in its own way. They're still rumors. Go ahead.
Summer Game Fest was not long ago.
Right.
Summer Game Fest was a very barely a month and a half ago in my mind. Yeah,
I mean I feel. I mean, even we're supposed to get a Nintendo Direct in early September, and I was thinking the last Direct was not that long ago. That's we're already getting, but they always do one in September, so it's okay. I guess they usually do this, so it'll be fine. But it's it feels like we just got a bunch of announcements over the summer. And I guess they did the Nintendo Direct over the summer later than normal, and that's why my brain's going in that direction. But for opening night live, I think we'll probably come out of it being okay, the games I was already excited about, I'm even more excited about now. And I'm sorry, I just got super distracted. YouTube has an affliction font. Did something happen to my computer, or is that something that YouTube is doing?
What?
I don't know. The YouTube logo on YouTube. Okay, it's a stroke of genius. It's not affliction. I don't know what that is. I was not going to be able to continue unless I talked about that. Sorry, everybody. Helvetica strikes again. This is also could be Jeff Keighley doing his thing where he recognizes this dance now. He's done this a bunch of times, and his stance going into a lot of these shows has been he wants to get people excited, but I think he's more willing to be let's lower expectations because I know people are going to watch no matter what now. I think at a certain point in time he was Like I kind of have to be the salesman no matter what, even if we don't have the goods, because I need people to watch this because that's how I make money. And I think now he's in a comfortable spot where the audience will show up for these things. They are hungry for these big presentations that might have announcements in them, and he can set expectations low and then overcome those expectations and kind of get both sides, get a huge viewership and get good sentiment coming out of it. Do you think there's any chance that maybe there is some surprises in there and he's trying to like purposely set the expectations low?
My experience of Gamescom, so I have been, I believe, 7 or 8 times, which is possibly too many.
Yeah, maybe.
But it was always, everything would be announced at E3. There would be behind closed door stuff, maybe some hands-on, but Gamescom would more or less be a lot of the same builds you would have at E3. That's kind of how the pipeline worked, and it would just be that these would be available to the public. Gamescom back in the day, when Sony, Microsoft, EA, whoever used to have their own press conferences, they would still hold announcements, they would still hold off different things. PlayStation, I want to say, went really big with indies and the Vita around Gamescom, so that it would be its own separate beat. Now those have all peeled off, and it feels like Gamescom, Jeff Keighley, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like Opening Night Live is much more of a Gamescom contacted him to make this show kind of thing, to make it a tentpole. That's the feeling I get, because I feel like
it's like mutual, but I think I know what you mean. Yeah, it's
a mutually beneficial partnership, but it feels like Jeff saves his announcements for the Game Awards and Summer Game Fest for sure. And Gamescom is this strange stopgap in the middle where it is just extended looks at things we've already seen. Because at the heart of it, it is more of the consumer show. These days, it used to be, I think, much more balanced in terms of big announcements, business stuff. The business center still pops off. But yeah, that's just how it feels to me. And so I think as well, Jeff is very aware of the scrutiny he gets when it comes to talking about and planning these shows. You see what happens. I think Game Awards every year he consistently delivers, and then I think he's learned at Summer Game Fest is that people expect Game Awards level reveals there, but it's a different show. So he's become very aware of how to navigate those conversations when speaking about the shows publicly, and I think that he's just being careful with regards to what he says about Opening Night Live. Yeah,
I think I agree, and you're right. Like the timing of this show and like the way that it fit into the schedule. It handcuffed him a little bit, and I think you're right. Like he's got these other masters of Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards. Mm-hmm. Yes. Jan asked about the possibility of a PS5 Slim getting announced. Sony won't be there, but it feels like this would have been a good place to do it. Sony can just do it wherever, though.
Sony will do their own digital thing, and then they'll show it off, and we'll all be like, Slim?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it looks pretty fat to me. But then, there are the rumors that Nintendo could have something announced for a next gen system around the time of Gamescom, if not at Gamescom. That still feels strange, out of nowhere. But Nintendo is there, and then they got Nintendo World Hangout Zone at Seattle during PAX just a few weeks later.
We go to that, aren't we?
Yeah, that sounds like fun. But I don't know. I mean, do you think there could be big announcements like that?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
I hope so. But at the same time, it just feels like the mind share is on everything else that's coming out this year.
Right.
I assume we'll talk about Starfield. Starfield by Gold.
Yep.
I feel like everyone's just going to be getting on with it.
Yep. Speaking of which, this is the Starfield has gone gold. I just saw this. This just actually happened right when we went live.
Hey!
Steinken here posted on Twitter. Starfield has gone gold from Bethesda Game Studios. Prepare for launch. This is what this really is. Gone gold. I think we talked about it on the Bombcast yesterday, and I talked about it on Twitter a little bit. It doesn't mean what it used to mean, because going gold meant we finished the game, put it on a gold master disc, sent it to the facility, and now they're printing that disc and they're selling it. And some of us get to go home and go on vacation. And that hasn't meant that in a very long time, because these games get continual updates through the first few weeks of launch. And so nothing really changes, other than it's a nice milestone for the developers. Yeah. But most developers, most publishers do not communicate going gold to a lot of to the public, because I think it implies something else about the game. Oh, the game is finished, and so we can expect a perfect game at launch. And I think a lot of studios try to avoid that. But the way that they, like, their big image here from Bethesda Game Studios doesn't say gone gold. It says preload begins. That is a marketing term. That is something that people can go and act on, and that is beneficial. It doesn't say, like, it does say it's gone gold in the tweet itself, but the big image says Starfield preload begins August 17th, August 30th. So yeah, now people can go ahead and get this ready to go on their systems so they can be ready to play on September 1st if you got the special edition, or if you want to go ahead and get the just wait for the Game Pass version or the cheaper version, get it on, what is it, September 6th, I think?
6th,
yeah,
I think.
6th. Yeah. So yeah, that sounds about right. Lucy, what's your sort of temperature on Starfield? I know that you happen to be playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3. Spent an hour getting a mace, is my understanding.
Oh my God. Okay. I hit 50 hours yesterday.
Hell yes.
And I'm just in Act 2.
Well, I wish we could have got you on the bond. I know you were busy, but man, you're going to be at Gamescom. I want to talk to you about this so bad. We'll have to find another venue to talk about Baldur's Gate 3.
No. The thing is I'm going to take it on my Steam Deck, so I will be playing it through Gamescom. So the week after I get back from Gamescom,
let's have
the 5th.
Let's have a big.
We'll do the 5th.
Yes.
But
that'll be a big Starfield and Baldur's Gate one, because I bet the review embargo by the 5th will be up, because it'll be out for most people.
Well, because that's the thing. I'm just like, I love it so much, and I'm really excited for Starfield. Starfield is basically a game made for me, but I want to finish Baldur's Gate, and I know that if I start Starfield, I'll fall off, because those are two very systems-driven video games.
Yep.
Coming out at the same time, and I'm like, oh man, I just want to shag my sultry vampire companion, then go into space.
You could probably mod him into Starfield and just have sex with him in there. I bet that's possible.
Not with those. What were they? Not with those little lines. It was like, oh, get a jetpack next time. You know.
Astarion. He's got star in his name right there.
He's Tim Curry. Like Neil Newborn has done like the Tim Curry voice, and then he's basically sort of a bit of a Lestat.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. They are going for a Lestat, definitely.
Yes.
Schlongs of Starfield. Shout out to Heladilos in chat for it's a great mod for the Skyrim. The Schlongs of Starfield is the name's right there. It's ready to go. Which we also killed Astarion in our playthrough when we did the multiplayer playthrough on Giant Bomb.
Dare you?
Yeah. Well, listen, I was against it, but we were playing with Dan, so he had to die.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so preload begins. We'll have plenty to talk about with Starfield when it happens. You're trying to finish Baldur's Gate. I'm still trying to finish Tears of the Kingdom. I'm right there. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try to finish it literally tonight. I did finish Pikmin 4 now, but my big problem is I really do want to get into Baldur's Gate 3 and win. I don't know.
It's so good.
No, I'm not gonna get to the end of this year without playing a significant portion of it. So I'll find some time for it.
Wait, what's Jan's bet? Jan's got a bet.
So Jan says that, okay, so you know how we're going to be at PAX, right?
I'm going.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And so you might need to help him, because you'll be in a situation where you can maybe aid him for a few hours. By the time our panel begins at 5 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday at the Blue Jay Theater at PAX West, Jan has to have beaten Tears of the Kingdom. And if he hasn't, he's going to shave his head at the panel.
Jan, my sweet boy.
Listen, he said this on the Bombcast, so you know that's legally binding.
Well, the thing is that Jan always wears hats, so how do we know that he hasn't already shaved his head?
That's a very good point, but I mean, we'll have to ask him to remove the hat, and we'll see what happens. But listen, I think, one, he can do this. He sets his mind to it. He can do anything. He can do anything if he sets his mind to it. But if he doesn't, listen, I get it. Sometimes you got to reset the hair, and sometimes you got to buzz it.
Are we going to sell the hair?
Sure.
Merch. Can you do that?
I think you could do anything. There might be laws against it. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Those are optional. We can just like throw handfuls at the audience, right? That'll be
close your mouths.
All right, let's see here. Switch port specialist Feral Interactive teases another 2 games. This comes from Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. There are constant requests for more Switch ports, and one company working around the clock in this particular field is the UK team at Feral Interactive. In a recent post on social media, it shared a cryptic message about a few new sightings on its games on its gaming radar. If you head over to its website, you could see 2 games coming quite soon to the Switch. Although there are no names attached, we do have some text and pictures. One features the Switch logo next to an image of dolphins and the text "over our heads." The other one has a Switch logo in front of what appears to be a pool table and the words, "Now you've got to play the part." You could see some fan theories and speculation on the Nintendo subreddit. All we really know for sure is that these titles are upcoming releases for Feral Interactive, and they will be coming, quote, quite soon. This, quite soon, Lucy, probably does refer to that September Direct that is almost certainly happening. So we probably won't have to wait too long. This is the same company that recently wrapped up work on the Lara Croft collection for the Nintendo Switch, Alien Isolation, and Grid Autosport. So they're pretty good at handling the Switch and doing that sort of thing. But I wonder what's happening. Listen, everyone knows me. If I hear dolphins, I'm going to think Echo the Dolphin. I think that Dreamcast, Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, I think is the name of the subtitle. That would be a pretty good fit on Switch. That could be a pretty good game. It gets pretty tough as soon as the sharks get introducced. Yeah, so that, our rules, that's right. So that probably means it's actually Sega's Hyenas game. Sure, why not? Are there any like ports that you think could be a good fit for the Switch? Anything that you like? But I mean, I don't know. Are you someone who like does port begging for the Switch? I'm like, oh, I would love everything on the Switch. How about you?
I think this. No, I don't port beg. It's all on the Switch. I have a Steam Deck.
Exactly. Yeah.
I honestly, when you ask me what I would like to see on the Switch, mate, Red Dead Redemption's coming to the Switch, so. All bets are off. Yeah. I did not anticipate that announcement at all. So I don't know. Unless it's done properly, the Switch can be the worst place to play third-party titles.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not. I don't mind.
Yeah, I think that this could, it's always exciting when like games that you wouldn't expect to get announced for the Switch, and then I rarely end up actually playing them. I think it was cool that The Witcher 3 got put on the Switch. It was fun to see it work and get the game and mess around with it. It's like, that's not how I'm gonna play that game. I'm good.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I also got Witcher 3 for the Switch. I got Dark Souls, Overwatch, and all of them. I was like, it's really, really cool and impressive that these games run on this machine. But I have consoles and now I have Steam Deck. Actually, I have a ROG Ally now too, which I'm excited about. This is going to be my my Gamescom machine.
Yeah, you're traveling a lot here pretty soon. Is it like it's going to be all the Roger Ally?
Roger Ally? Yeah, well, I think so. So I should say what Xbox provided it to me to check it out. So a little disclosure in there. I'm excited to see it just work. I was talking to Skill Up about it, and he was like, yeah, I was playing stuff on like max or like high settings, and the battery life wasn't so great. So
yeah, you gotta.
I would want to fiddle around with that.
Yeah, so it's a 1080p screen, which is completely unnecessary on a system that small, with a screen that small. And so that uses a little bit more battery life. And, it's got a higher, more powerful system on a chip, and that uses more battery life. It's also Windows, not the most optimized operating system for mobile kind of computing. And it's a little bit annoying to like use Windows on a device like that without a mouse and a keyboard. But when you're playing a game, it's great. It's fantastic, and they run really well. And it's much easier to get stuff like Xbox PC games working or Epic Game Store. That stuff just works. It's
much lighter as well. Ooh, it's much lighter as well, which I kind of like.
Let me help this kid real quick.
What is Gimmick doing? So that's gonna be my gaming, I guess, when I'm traveling. Hopefully the Lufthansa has decent power points in their seats.
Yeah, it's the thing. Like, I mean, I think if you find the right game on the Switch, you probably can get through most of a flight. But these handheld gaming PCs, you probably still are going to need a power outlet for sure.
Don't worry about it. I hit up my doctor and I asked for that the good drugs.
Oh, sweet! So you're going to time travel?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, it's what I do. It's what I've started doing because I used to have a very intense fear of flying. So now I just require pill. But no, it's fine. I can fly totally fine, but it helps me.
Yeah, well, I mean, why not? And why not do it if you can? Yeah. If I could go in a sleep pod, I would. And that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, Xbox launches new strike system to help weed out the jerks. This comes from Eddie McCooch at GameSpot. Microsoft's ongoing effort to curtail bad behavior to help promote an environment free of harassment and bullying on Xbox continues with the announcement of a strike system. This comes not long after Microsoft rolled out an Xbox feature that allows players to capture and submit chat clips to help fight toxic behavior in online games. The Xbox strike system is similar to the demerit strike system used on a driver's license in many countries. A player that has received 2 strikes will be suspended from the platform for 1 day, whereas a player that receives 4 strikes will be suspended for 7 days, Microsoft said. There are a total of 8 strikes. Once that number is reached, players will be suspended for messaging parties, party chat, multiplayer, and other features for 12 months. Strikes against accounts will be retained on a player's record for 6 months before being wiped. Players will receive 1 strike for profanity and cheating and 2 strikes for sexually inappropriate and harassment and bullying. Anyone using hate speech will receive 3 strikes. This actually sounds like a pretty good system, Lucy. The big thing here is that, well, the enforcement is going to have like a strike team attached to it. People, like human beings, are going to be looking at these reports, but they're trying to like automate a lot of it. But then at the end, if you get a report, someone's going to be looking at that and deciding whether or not you deserve the strikes or not. That's good. But then, yes, 3 strikes automatically for hate speech. And that gets you a week or an automatic week ban. And if you do that 2 more times, then you're just off for a year. That seems pretty good. I think maybe it could be a little bit harsher even. But you also hope that maybe people can learn lessons. I don't know how much faith I have in that, but I don't know. How do you feel about this?
I think it's a really positive step in the right direction. I'm just looking up Ryan McCaffrey's. Ryan McCaffrey was not a fan of it. I saw yesterday or the day before. But Phil replied with the feedback. Yeah, feedback is helpful. I'm sure we'll have to continue to tune the system. So they're considering this.
What was Ryan's issue? Do you know?
It's a long one.
Okay.
Man's got the blue tick, so he's not beholden to the 208 characters like the
sweat of his tweets. Come on.
Blah, blah, blah. Surely Xbox P3 had to sign off on Xbox's new enforcement strike system. Phil, why does it take 8 strikes to get a 1-year ban? Here's why that doesn't make sense to me in Xbox's own words. But then it doesn't seem like he...
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he recognized that you get multiple strikes per, issue.
Right. You know what?
So that's what Phil's replied. So it's like, and then there's a back and forth where Phil was like, this is being worked on. This is, this is what we're launching with, but it is constantly being monitored and changed. So.
Right. If it was like someone had to do hate speech 8 times before getting banned for a year and nothing happened before that, I would agree, but that's not what the system is. I think overall this sounds good. And if anything, they will probably increase the rapidity of how many strikes you get per infraction. So I don't think they're going to be like, well, we've softened on hate speech. Now you only get 2 strikes instead of 3. Like, it seems like they'll be like, no, you get 4. So you do it twice and you're out for a year. And I kind of hope they get to that point. That sounds about right to me, but I could see why because there's degrees to all this. And I think they're trying to build that into the system, but it's like at a certain point, I always say this on my Discord, the rule is no line stepping. Like, you just don't, you don't even, we know when we know when you think you're being cute, just no line stepping. But that's, small community. Like, you're doing it this big, I get why you need to have these sort of rigid rules and rigid system.
Yeah. I mean, with regard to content moderation on a platform as big as Xbox Live, that is an unenviable task. And so I think any step is a step in the right direction, because it's kind of been pretty... I mean, it used to be the Wild West, and now it's much better. And so now them actually saying, hey, we have laid out all the rules for you. This is, I think it's a good, I'm interested to see it in action. I will say, have you ever seen that? I think it's a forum post where it's reasons why I got banned from Xbox Live.
Yeah, I think I do remember this.
The old support stuff where it's like some poor person from Xbox has to reply and go like, oh, well, you called your gamer tag like ass blasters or something. I don't know.
Fantastic. We're about to get to all the ass blasters playing Modern Warfare 3 here pretty soon. But first, we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back. All right, Modern Warfare 3 brings back all of 2009 Modern Warfare 2's maps, it seems. This comes from Eddie McCooch at GameSpot. Sorry, Lucy, we do breaks now. I didn't tell you that.
I know.
Yeah.
It was just so funny that just as you said that, Jan put, "Hey, Grubb, take a break," even though you already did it. Yeah, you already did it.
Jan's spirit, it took over my brain for a second, so we got there. It appears this year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 will bring back maps from 2009's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Charlie Intel said it texted the Call of Duty marketing campaign phone number and received confirmation that all 16 maps, what does that mean? From the 2009 game will be in Modern Warfare 3. Is there a hotline that you could text and get scoops from, Lucy? I don't know what that meant.
No.
This follows a leak from earlier in the week that said Modern Warfare 3 would include the 16 maps at launch. The maps include high-rise, sub-base estate, so on. A remastered version of 2009's Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was released in 2020, but it only included the campaign and didn't have any multiplayer support. With the release of the maps for Modern Warfare 3, it seems fans are finally get what they wanted, in a way at least. Back in 2020, Activision alluded to bringing classic Call of Duty maps to Modern Warfare, to the Modern Warfare universe eventually. And now, here we are, it seems like. This is something that seems pretty much confirmed. I was a big Call of Duty player back at that time, Lucy. This is the kind of thing where I'm like, oh, those maps were very good. I have a lot of nostalgia attached to them. Just being in those spaces would be good. I will probably go back to this. But it also makes this year's Call of Duty feel a little bit like a Frankenstein that they've like pieced together to like make it feel like a $70 game still. Because, there were those rumors that they were going to skip this year. And then a few months ago, like, no, they're definitely not skipping this year. Sledgehammer's worked on stuff. They have a campaign. They have multiplayer. They have all this stuff ready to go. And it's like, okay, what does that look like? I'm very curious. And we haven't seen much from it. But that it does feel like, yes, like Arwol says, it feels like DLC package does a new release. That's what it feels like to me. Do you get that sense as well?
100%. This feels like such a weird year for Call of Duty. I kind of, not worrying is not the right term for this, but I'm very intrigued by the fact that the big selling point for this game is old maps.
Yeah. I mean,
and it feels like that's the line they're going down.
What other
like,
selling point is? We haven't heard anything, right? So it's like that. I mean, listen, they put up some teases and stuff. I think the other selling point is not like some big new feature. It's like all the stuff that you purchased in Modern Warfare 2 is going to carry over. Yeah. Well, that's new and neat, and okay, let's see what that looks like. But what is Modern Warfare 3? And we're pretty late in the marketing game, and they have been pretty quiet on all that stuff. Now, I'm sure there will be a big reveal eventually, and we will know what the real selling point is. But right now, old maps being that does make it feel like a big nostalgia play DLC pack that is going to be $70. Yep. And at the end of the day, that's probably what this game is going to be. And then maybe it might surpass that with, actually, the campaign is surprisingly good. Who knows?
He's back with a new hat.
Yes.
And the same maps.
Exactly, yes. And it's probably still going to be the best-selling game. Like, even in a year with Baldur's Gate 3 and Zelda and all these other things, Call of Duty's probably still going to outsell all of that, even if it feels, like, off in some key ways. So, you kind of, at a certain point, like, if I was running a business and I had the option to do what they're doing to make a lot more money, I'd probably do it too, and that's I wouldn't feel good about it. Bandai Namco has multiple major titles planned for the remainder of 2023. This is from Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life. Bandai Namco has shown strong support for the Switch and multiple other platforms this generation, and it's set to continue this in the second half of 2023. In its latest financial report, it mentions how it plans to release a number of major titles in this half of the year. One game in particular referenced is Naruto X Boruto, but it's also got games like Baten Kaitos 1 and 2. I can never remember how to say that. Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster, Armored Core, and Tekken 8 arriving in the near future. Tekken 8's not this year. That's got to be the first half of next year, maybe. Another project I teased earlier this year. Tekken 8?
I thought it was meant to be this year.
Am I mixing it up with something else? I might be mixing it up with someone else. I thought Tekken was.
It doesn't have a release date.
Okay.
So
Tekken has no date, so not officially. If it's coming this year, I guess it could come in December, right? That's the game that like could sneak in this year, I suppose. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think by now it would have a release date.
Yeah, and they've been, that game's been showing up in a lot of places, and they've been talking about it a lot. I mean, obviously, we saw the beefcakes at Summer Games Fest. But yes, yeah, okay. Tekken 7 World Championships are in January, so it will likely be after that. Thank you, Marino. That sounds right. I think first quarter of next year. So. Yeah, that could be. I mean, they could be talking about their fiscal year. That's probably what happened here, and they got a little confused. And their fiscal year, this half of the fiscal year is probably the holiday quarter, and then the first quarter of next year. Another project it teased earlier this year was the revival of its Dragon Ball Budokai or Budokai Tenkaichi series, with a new game currently in the early stages of development. There are potentially more announcements just around the corner as well, with a number of game shows coming up. So apparently Bandai Namco could, I don't know, is Bandai Namco supposed to be at Gamescom? Do we know? I'm not sure.
I am not sure. Yeah, I mean, they'll be hot off the heels of, Armored Core will be releasing during Gamescom, right?
Right, yes, it will be out.
It wouldn't surprise me if they are there and Armored Core is playable on the show floor, because a lot of games that kind of would release around Gamescom time would do that to get people excited about it. So
okay, I have to defend myself. It is written here as Budokai, not Budokai. I thought it was Budokai Tenkaichi. Okay, Tenkaichi. I did say wrong. All right, so it's a little bit of both, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But it's written here by Liam Doolin. Sorry, Liam, I got to throw you under the bus. As Budokai Tenkaichi. Tenkaichi. Okay, so we'll get it right next time. All right, Bungie's approach to Destiny 2 PvP is changing. After Bungie posted a Destiny 2 State of the Game update that received some big pushback from players, game director Joe Blackburn uploaded an almost 17-minute vlog in which he responded to community criticism.
Mate, it looked like a YouTuber apology. I saw that come off my feed. I was like, Joe, what are you doing?
I saw the frame. It's like it almost was like he turned on the camera himself, sat down, and then did that the exact YouTube apology thing. In it, Blackburn apologized for recent decisions from Bungie, promised a major increase in new PvP content, and addressed several other complaints. The biggest point of criticism from Destiny 2 players in the wake of Bungie's big update on the game was the studio implying that it simply didn't have the resources to deliver a more regular flow of PvP content, a section of Destiny 2 that has become notorious for being drip-fed new maps and modes over the years. Blackburn explained that Bungie is now aiming to deliver a big drop of new maps in 2024, which will be free for all Destiny 2 players. Next year, we're going to change our philosophy. Instead of a slow trickle of maps throughout the year, we're going to focus our efforts into a single map pack that's free for everyone, Blackburn said. So imagine new maps coming in one drop so that we can make a bunch of new experiences that can all be good at specific things and has a big variety in a single drop next year. I have friends that still play a lot of Destiny 2, Lucy, and not many of them I hear talk about PvP, and I don't think that's because they don't want to be playing the PvP. I think it's because there's just not a lot to be excited about there. These live service games are, it's a relationship between them and the player, right? And they kind of have to put in, you have to put energy in to keep that relationship strong, and it feels like that is. At a certain point, you just run out of, as they said, resources. So I get them like, okay, you know what? You're asking for this. We're going to put the effort in here. But you think they'll get that return on investment? What other choice do they have?
I know. I wish I had space in my life for a kind of game that I could keep, checking in on occasionally. I wish I kind of had that.
Overwatch
used to be that game for me. I just don't have time for it anymore, especially this year. But I can definitely understand the frustrations for the Destiny community. The last big content drop did not go down very well. I'm really interested in. I always feel like Destiny, their communication, Bungie as a studio, is pretty good. They have all of the what do they call it? This week at Bungie stuff going on. They seem to be very open, or at least compared to what you used to get when you were getting communications from developers. It's kind of a whole different world, and I feel like they are actually taking the feedback on board. I would say I'm very interested in this new approach. It's something that the Overwatch team does with Aaron Keller, the Diablo team does, where they put the dev front and kind of make them do the apology video kind of thing. I get that it's humanizing, and part of me thinks that's a really good thing, but the other part of me thinks, do you want to put someone who's already in a high stress position, who is ostensibly the face of the game, up against more scrutiny this way? So I'm interested to see how this plays out for him, because
you get the sense that Bungie's like pulled away from that a little bit, right? They used to be even more communicative.
Pull away for it.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this is Joe wanting to do it because he feels like he needs to. But yeah, you can it's just I don't know. We'll see. I mean, talking about how Twitter is a cesspool, etc. recently, it feels like a kind of strange move, but
yeah, it does feel like, because it feels to me like over at Bungie, they've come up with a set of best practices for keeping people over there sane and safe, and that involves a lot of not communicating until you're completely ready to communicate, and then when you do, it is blog posts and then a handful of like produced videos and stuff like that. Whereas in the past, I think Luke Smith would just like go and talk to people online and on message boards, and then the bad harassment campaigns happened, and they had to sue people for being harassed, and that like they're like, this is a huge financial effort to prosecute these people, and we won, and we're going to get paid back for that. But does that person have the capacity to actually pay it back? We're just actually trying to like show people an example of what we'll do if you harass us. But the best way to avoid harassment is just to not put ourselves out there, so we're not a target. So yeah, it is interesting to see them out here doing this again. So he must feel it's important. And I hope the community like groks that. They're like, oh, they must be taking this seriously if they're out there talking about this. But really, people won't be happy until the thing they like is the way they want it to be, and then they're only happy for a little bit, and then it's like, well, what have you done for me lately? So again, these live service games it's a tough business. That said, I think it's still like the alternative is hoping you get a big hit for a release like as a product. And there's no guarantees there either. So maybe being in these relationships, as abusive as they might be sometimes, from the players towards the devs, it still seems like the business makes sense for a lot of these games. So yeah. Destiny 2 not gonna change too much. Huge sales of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom could be what upheld Japan's GDP increase. This is from My Nintendo News. Japan's cabinet office has said it recorded a 2.8% GDP increase during the period of April to June 2023 compared to the previous quarter for personal consumption. Japanese news site Mainichi Shimbun reports that the growth could be attributed to the massive sales success of the critically acclaimed The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The period for the increase of GPD was from April to June 2023. The site says that one of the Japanese Cabinet Office officials attributed the significant growth to large new releases of video game software from various Japanese companies, including Nintendo's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Capcom's Street Fighter 6, and Square Enix's long-awaited Final Fantasy 16. Tears of the Kingdom was so highly anticipated in Japan that people reported on social networking services that they took a holiday from work to play Link's latest adventure. It sounds absurd, but also those games, especially those 3 games all put together around the same time, that probably did have a percentage effect on a country's entire GDP. Like they are that's big, especially Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, it's wild to see it kind of on paper, especially when Japanese Cabinet Office officials say it as well. Exactly. Because I feel like the gamers could say it.
Right, exactly. That's what I was expecting. All say it. When I first saw the story, I was expecting to be like, that game came out during that month. They're like, come on. But it's like, no, the cabinet officials are crediting video games for that. So, yeah, Nintendo is still among the most valuable companies in Japan. There was a point where it was straight up the most valuable company in Japan. And I think it goes back and forth at times. But it's like, so yeah, that like if that's the case, as go Nintendo, so goes about 1 percentage point maybe of Japan's economy at the most. So now we can say bigger than movies and TV shows combined and helped Japan's economy. That's you're right. That's how I'm going to say it from now on. That's fantastic. Anytime that I'm guesting on CNN or whatever. All right, let's see. Final Fantasy 16 producer wishes there was only one game platform. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. Final Fantasy 16 producer Naoki Yoshida has said he believes it would be better if there was just a single game platform. According to an IGN translation of an interview with a Taiwanese YouTube channel, Yoshida said it would be better for developers and players alike if there weren't competing console platforms. I just want to reminder, this stuff's translated, so the language could be softer here, maybe.
I did see people quote tweet be like, it was very clear he was joking in this.
Yeah, and exactly that as well. I think it's a joke that's comes from a place of he's not full on Dennis Dyack here. He is not saying the one console future is the only future that is possible. He's just probably currently in a situation where he's like, gotta make this shit for PC now, and you fucking idiots are still using
Xbox
hard drives.
Now, is it?
Hard drives? Yeah, and right. The relationship with Xbox has been, it seems healed since the new CEO took over. And the Xbox Series S is going to be, pretty annoying for developers that were just developing for the PS5 only. And now you got to go deal with this thing that doesn't have enough RAM in certain situations. There's ways around it that, they are going to have to make it for PC. And there's definitely PCs that are less powerful than the Xbox Series S. But still, he's a developer. He wants things to be as straightforward as possible. And the way that this whole system works isn't. I do think that, for the most part, at the time, when Dennis Dyack was saying this, and for people who don't know, Dennis Dyack was was the leader at Silicon Knights, the studio that did Eternal Darkness. He later became more famous, maybe not more famous, but equally as famous for just sticking his foot in his mouth and Too Human, and that X-Men Dimensions game that got delisted, and for suing Epic Games and losing the suit and all this stuff because he's like, Unreal Engine fucking sucks, I'm gonna sue you. And then for having a bunch of failed Kickstarters. Yes, infamous. He had this thing for a while. He had a lot of things for a while, but one of his things was the one console future. And for him, he's like, no, there should just be one console from one company, and that's how it should work. And his reasoning was pretty much it would be easier on developers. And I think in the end, it didn't work out exactly that way. But the PS5 and the Xbox systems are pretty much the same thing. They are like PCs. So he got what he wanted in the end, pretty much. So I think that for as much as Yoshida is joking here, it's hey, you know what? It's not as complicated as it once was. It's not like you're working with a GameCube is was it Power PC, or maybe that was Xbox. I can't ever remember. It's but these whole completely different CPUs that are so different from one another that they're a huge headache. It's no, this is all x86 for the most part, and then you got the Switch over there, which you're not going to be putting any of your Yoshida Final Fantasy games out on at all. All right. Guillermo del Toro reaches out to Konami on PT's 9th anniversary. This is from Andrew Heaton at Destructoid. Many of us horror fans are giddy about the fact that Silent Hill is making a comeback. However, the loss of PT, which is the Silent Hill project that was being developed by Hideo Kojima and Pan's Labyrinth director Guillermo del Toro as a teaser for Silent Hills way back then, will always be a sore point, not just for fans either, as even those involved still feel the pain. Recently, people on Twitter have acknowledged that 9 years have elapsed since PT was released. Many have been reminiscing. That. Yeah, right. That does not feel real.
I was at Gamescom. I remember.
Really?
I remember sitting around. I think it was my first Gamescom with GameSpot. We were sitting around a table at the Airbnb, and we watched the streamer beat it. Because I think it was a woman, and she was playing it, and she figured out what the thing was, and we were like, "Oh shit! It's a Kojima thing."
Oh, man, it was a fun time when PT came out and everyone was doing that. There's not much that's been said by the director other than asking Konami, "What sayeth thou?" He basically atted Konami and said, "What sayeth thou about doing something with PT?" This was followed by the phrase Iromabo Konamatus, which when translated from Latin to English says, "I will visit Konami."
Why? Why is it in Latin?
Because it's Guillermo del Toro and he can do what he wants. He doesn't.
He's oh God, it's he's how fucking demons in horror movies will speak in Latin or something.
Iromabo Konamitus.
Iromabo Konamitus.
Yeah, sure, why not? Given that Silent Hill is making a triumphant return, hopes will remain that Kojima's take on the series will one day count itself among the many other upcoming Silent Hill games. Andrew Heaton, you got to let that go. Listen, on the long scale of time, the long spectrum of time, I could see a world in which Kojima eventually does something with Konami again, but not anytime soon. This is like when he is well into his semi-retirement phase, I think, and he like lends his name to a project, and then actually does maybe come in and does some work on it. But for now, it is still bad beef, and I don't think he's gonna want to go do anything with them while he's got his own projects at Kojima Productions going on.
Yeah, he's I mean, I think Silent Hills is it's not coming back for a bit, is it?
No, yeah, right. And even when it does, it's not going to be whatever that was. They would just do something different and have someone else take it over or something like that. Remember GDT's Guillermo del Toro's other game, Insane, also canceled. No, I don't remember this at all.
Insane. I'm clicking.
Insane was originally announced at the 2010 Spike VGAs. Yeah, man, developed by Volition. Jeez, okay. Well, THQ, rest in peace. That must have been one of those games that didn't get bought when THQ collapsed or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to do it for the news. I got a poll from yesterday. I'll bring it up here in a second, but while I'm getting that up, Lucy, why don't you tell people what's going on, what you have going on, where they can find you, all that stuff.
So today we've got the latest episode of Jeff Just Bizarre Adventure. We've got 2 episodes of Cowboy Bebop that we are recapping. Yesterday, thank you so much to Jan for putting together the mammoth San Diego Comic-Con travelogue. I don't know if you can tell, I'm pretty drunk at the party part.
You seem happy, I'll say that much.
I'm going to rewatch that.
That was fun.
Because I completely forgot. I think genuinely the biggest point, like the biggest highlight of that night was seeing Kim Joy from the Great British Bake Off.
I can tell. That was like number one with a bullet for you. That was fantastic.
I saw her from over the party and I was like, yo, is that Kim Joy? And it turns out that her husband, who we also met, who was lovely, owns Traveling Man. So if you're in the UK, Traveling Man is a comic book shop. And the thing is that I should have said it at the time, but it was so funny because Traveling Man in the UK has the exact birthday that I do. Like the shop was founded on the same day I was born. Neat. And every year I would go in, and be like, oh, it's my birthday too. Anyway, Traveling Man is a great shop if you're in the UK, especially the one in Leeds and the one in Newcastle. I hope they're both still around because they're fantastic.
I really enjoyed the travelogue. Bacalar being replaced by Tam when Tam becomes the hockey man. That was pretty good. Yeah. I liked watching you guys make your own Funko Pops. Those are the only Funko Pops I would ever want.
Oh, it arrived.
It did. Hang on. Oh yeah, grab it. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Reveal.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. All right, here we go, everybody. You can see she designed it on a touch screen there at their, I guess, their booth at Comic-Con. And it looked a lot like a me character creator situation, but I guess that makes sense for Funko Pops. And I was hoping, so in the video, the screen made the hair not look brown. I think that the hair came out right. Yes.
It is brown.
I was hoping that would be the case. So I was happy when you settled on the brown that looked black. So I'm like, I bet the final version is going to look right. That looks fantastic. For audio listeners, she's holding a bottle of wine. She's got Peanut next to you. You guys that? Yeah.
I got Lil P, and I've also got a game controller. It has my exact outfit from the day before, so that worked out really well. However, at the end of the day, it is a Funko Pop, so it will be going in the back of my closet. And
we can next time we have a Summer Game Fest couch, bring that and we'll put it on the set. That would be fun.
Yes, I will.
Okay, the poll. I have it right here. Let me fade in real quick. Would you go see a 4K transfer of the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie in theaters? 38% said yes, 62% said no, and 62% of you are cowards. You're cowards.
Damn.
Yes, damn. Oh well. I have a soft spot for that movie. I would totally go see it.
I've never seen it.
There's the reason we asked this. There's a 4K re-release in Japan only right now.
Oh.
So, but it's like, man, if they're doing it in Japan, like, and Nintendo's not stopping it or something, like that, there must be a possibility we could get this over here, and I really hope we do.
I think so.
All right, the new poll for tomorrow. I don't know. I said, have you ever seen Yoshi P and Dennis Dyack in the same room at the same time? Yes, no. I bet they're probably the same person, everybody. So Go ahead and vote. We'll have a new show tomorrow here on Giant Bomb. Speaking of Giant Bomb, is there Jeff's?
So there is Jeff's today. Speaking of Yoshi P, we had him and Takai on for audio logs that came out yesterday, all about the creation of Ifrit in Final Fantasy 16, and also it was a very fun time doing that because there's a bit in the video where Yoshi P goes, "I didn't want to set everyone on fire." Nothing like that. So
when did you record this one? Is this the one that you guys?
Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, because I remember like we were waiting at the office and they were going to show up, and I was like, at this point, I had done the couch for 3 days in a row, and I just went in the corner. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody, so I'm just gonna let them walk past and like just like not make eye contact. But it came out of this posse, and it was very fun. That was very cool.
It was really fun. They were great on camera. They had a lot of bands. But yeah, we shot that on the Monday after Summer Game Fest, and I was just like, okay, note for future, don't record it at the end of a convention at like 5 p.m. on a Monday.
I think I had ramen stain on my shirt or something. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go be embarrassed over here. Lucy, thank you so much for talking with me about video games today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, as usual. I'm sorry I won't be around next week, but I will be.
No problem. Get some
Deutschland.
Yeah, exactly.
Gaffelkolsch.
Go have a Kolsch. What's their beer? I can't remember. But go in.
Kolsch.
Yeah, Kolsch. There we go. Yeah, whatever.
We get that here.
Yeah, well, listen, it's better in Germany, I'm sure.
It is because it comes in like tiny little glasses.
Oh yeah, that's
and you
how
have
you
so
want
many.
And thank you everybody for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, well done.
Oh, I love.